Hi folks, thanks for your company. Joe Biden has been US President for just over 7 months now, yet his legacy as Commander-in-Chief has already been written. Whenever his time in the White House is analysed, the withdrawal from Afghanistan will always be the overarching moment. Yes, Biden was the president who ended the 20-year war. He was also the president who oversaw its chaotic, embarrassing and deadly end, not to mention the collapse of everything Allied forces fought for. Biden gave a big speech this week, probably his biggest yet, defending his decision.
I was not going to extend this forever war, and I was not extending a forever exit. The decision to end the military airlift operations at Kabul airport was based on the unanimous recommendation of my civilian and military advisors, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and all the service chiefs, and the commanders in the field. Their recommendation was that the safest way to secure the passage of the remaining Americans and others out of the country was not to continue with 6,000 troops on the ground in harm's way in Kabul, but rather to get them out through non-military means.
60% of Americans wanted the war to end. But according to Reuters, 51% disapproved of how he handled it and only 38% approved. And Republicans are seizing on this with an eye to the midterm elections next year. They're calling for his resignation, even his impeachment. International diplomacy expert Professor Joe Siracusa says they've got a point.
The future of Joe Biden, which looks pretty dim right now. Look, you never leave a place after you've been at war there. It's just not possible.
And then there's the reaction from around the world. Across Europe, officials reacted with a mixture of disbelief and betrayal. German lawmaker Norbert Röttgen said the war's end does fundamental damage to the political and moral credibility of the West. From the UK, Conservative Tom Tugendhat said Afghanistan is the biggest foreign policy disaster since Suez. We need to think again about how we handle friends. And here in Australia, former Prime Minister John Howard thought the withdrawal was too hasty. Biden blamed both Trump for committing to the withdrawal in the first place and the Afghan army for throwing down their guns and running as soon as the Taliban rolled into town. But when the Americans deserted Bagram Air Base in July, the game was over. The Afghans knew it, so why would they fight, especially when they weren't even getting paid? Biden can't carry all the blame, of course. Obama's surge played a part, as did Trump's deal with the Taliban without the Afghan government present, which ultimately gave Taliban fighters hope to hold out. But the conclusion was a shambles and is how the war will be remembered, despite the brave efforts of our servicemen and women who put their lives in danger right up until the end. And it took days for the Americans to even publicly thank us for that. See you next week.